Yes, to your own enslaved. For death of freedom, a valid choice. Those of us don't need to like you cowards. To decorate, this world is wrong to be.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
David.
Cuz.
The Royal Rumble.
And Craig.
Put that cigarette out.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, Royal Rumble 92. Hit us up on Instagram at OWP2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. And anything we talk about today is inspired by the WWE Network. So do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch
I beat
WWE,
all of you.
WCW, ACW, and more. You're fired.
Billionaires suck it. You watch everyone I own, you sons of bitches.
Right? So, guys, I'm going to do a little different. Let's just jump right in. This is Royal Rumble 92, Knickerbocker Arena, 17,000 fans in attendance. VKM gives us the intro that we always love and miss. He announces every single Royal Rumble entrant into it. Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan are putting us in perspective with their commentating work, and Howard Finkel loving this as well. They're all dead, by the way. Sorry to say, is giving the announce work into it. Jess, can you give us the lay of the land of wrestling in 92?
Nasty Boy Knobs. Like, it's Bushwhacker Luke.
The Barbarian. We're getting nasty.
Haku.
Sandy Earthquake. Rowdy Roddy. Python Boat Typhoon, I mean.
I bet if you listen to the his commentary on that, like the people that are on their way out, he's like, Jake Roberts. All the people that are on the out for them.
What you mean ready to say?
Right. You always know.
We coming into this pay-per-view, not counting what happens at this pay-per-view, the WWF Championship is vacant. There is no World Wrestling Federation champion here because of the controversial rematch of Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker from Tuesday in Texas. Hulk Hogan won the title back from Undertaker, who defeated him at Survivor Series 91. But no, Jack Tunney stepped in and said, I saw some kind of interference and something about the ashes and the urn. So the title is vacant. So the winner of the 30-man Royal Rumble in 1992 will be crowned the World Wrestling Federation champion. Intercontinental champion coming in here is the Mountie. World Tag Team champions. World Tag Team champions are the Legion of Doom. On the WCW side of things, we're about a month away from Sting defeating Lex Luger to win the WCW Heavyweight Championship. Lex Luger's current champion at this point. World Tag Team champions are beautiful Bobby Eaton and Arn Anderson, part of the Dangerous Alliance. And the United States champion is Ravishing Rick Rude. Ooh. That is the champions as they lay out right now. As of the Royal Rumble 1992. We're getting ready to go.
Well done, Jess. Well done.
And WCW was still, they were coming out of the whole, Flair leaving and bringing the belt. That was about like 4 or 5 months removed. So actually WCW was doing a good job here at rebranding themselves and kind of just finally becoming WCW. They dumped the NWA. They did all that. They settled the lawsuit. They got the big gold belt off WWF television. And they started to go their own direction at this point. So,
and I just want to say, look behind the curtain. Dave, before he went on, surprised and said, could you set the table and just real quick, just do something a little different? So just did that, no notes right off the top of his head, set the landscape. It was completely accurate. So props.
Because I knew he could.
All hail.
And
the encyclopedia. Well done.
looking back, this was really in 1991. If you want to dissect it, was the beginning of the decline of wrestling in the United States. Here, towards the end of 92, shit's just not even the same.
Jesus.
We're going to talk about some massive names in this Royal Rumble, and we mainly chose this Rumble because it's the most famous, because it was one of the only two ever where the WWE or WWF championship is on the line, but also it is considered by many to be the greatest Royal Rumble actual match itself, and kind of the card overall too. But I would say like 2002 rivaled that, 2001, 2005, last year's 2000 this year. Sorry,
I just want to.
2020. I thought Royal Rumble 2020 was absolutely excellent, pretty much from top to bottom. So there's been Rumbles that have come out and rivaled this since then, but this one for a long time was considered like the best. When you start talking about the names in this Royal Rumble, and I will read that list as we get to it, as we cover the actual match itself. There's
Bushwhacker Luke.
There's like every name, Brian Knobb, every name.
I just want to make sure it's very, very clear that I did not pick 92 for this topic.
Dave did not. Dave actually had 90 was one of the choices, 90 or 2002. And I don't know, I kind of forced 92 because everybody else talks about it, and it's just sort of one of the ones we should. But 1990, it's funny that Dave said that. 1990 is in my top 5. It's probably my favorite Royal Rumble. I love 1990.
That sounds like a Hogan win. Was 90 a Hogan win?
What?
Look, I can't remember. It's so
he
weird.
did throw
so
Mr.
Weird.
Perfect out and win. Yes, he did.
Oh, brother.
And then he won the next year
perfect
with
ending,
the first
brother.
time, 2-time in a row winner. But that we're not talking
back
about
to
90 or
back.
91.
92 is in my head what I think of when I think of the Royal Rumble. There's so much kind of to it. It's the dream match of everybody. It's the first time you see Flair. It's the road that they give him on his kind of entrance and its way to the top. Like, it's just, it really is special. And we've watching it back, like it holds up, and it's still really good. So I think it's a good choice.
It brings me back to childhood, and when we usually every year when the big 4 pay-per-views are coming up, me and Crystal will sit there and we'll watch past pay-per-views. And this year for the Rumble, 92 was the one we watched.
I think
a lot of big things.
I think besides Mania, this is like my favorite WWF pay-per-view ever, the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah. Yeah, same here. I think
There's so much you can do with
everybody's.
it, like in an hour and a half. Like, there's so much you can tie up, you can start.
It never tires, right? They consider
Surprises.
They even consider getting rid of
Reviews.
Survivor Series at one point in time, like 10 years ago. They were actually almost going to dump Survivor Series and just have a random November pay-per-view. I'm glad they didn't.
Why do you why do you always say they? You don't know who's doing it. Come on.
The WWE.
I hate Jimmy's brother tag teams. God damn it.
But the Royal Rumble gets stronger every year, and it's something that we look forward to every year. Like, it never tires. Like Craig said, it's the same match, but you could do a billion different things with it. The title could be vacant. You could fight for the title. The winner, gets the shot at WrestleMania. Like, you could do so many different things with it. It's weird, but you can have a cool undercard now. You can have a cage match in the undercard. You could do a lot of stuff with the undercard.
How many years have we waited for Kofi's escape for not touching the floor? And it's different and inventive every single year. And that's just one guy, one Little England.
Until every other wrestler starts
And then it's
doing it.
someone going to break the quick record, the
whoa.
2-second record, or who's going to be the fastest elimination or whatever.
Naomi or someone else.
No one can beat the Warlord's record. Just
He held it for a long time, and so did one of the Bushwhackers, I think.
And Lawler and Jerry Lawler too, right?
Yeah, Jerry Lawler. I think he's the one that beat it. It was 97. He was commentating. He was commentating in the buzzer ring, and he's like, "It's me, haha, big man!" And he gets up, and then he literally gets in the ring and steps in. He gets knocked out, and he sits back down. He's like, "I wasn't ready. Like the whole time. Like, he literally was one motion, and he stumbled back in his chair and sat there. It was great.
Well, remember he was like, "It's my turn" or whatever. Then JR's like, "You were already in there. What?"
Yeah, that's right.
hilarious.
That's right. Yeah.
Wasn't it later, and wasn't it Kane that got him out? I feel like I remember a Kane. No, you might be right. It might be 97. I just don't remember who got him out.
I could be wrong too.
Nothing is
look
funnier.
It up and get back to us. I mean,
Nothing is funnier to me than Bushwhacker walking across the ring, going
Yeah,
out, and then he
Bushwhacker.
almost doesn't miss a beat, and then still goes off.
keeps-
It's so fun.
That's one I was thinking of.
That's one of the best ones.
All right. Are you guys ready for match number 1?
Yes. Well, so this is fucking funny. So the dark match was Chris Walker defeated the Brooklyn Baller by disqualification. Why was there a controversy in who was going to win a dark match, for fuck's sake?
Why was there
Of all times, the Brooklyn Brawler's like, listen, normally I do the job, but not for Walker. DQ only. Like, did he stick up for himself finally? Like,
not today.
A dark match ended in DQ. What a way to get the crowd going in the dark match. Ding, ding, ding. This bout is a disqualification. Like, people are like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Who is Chris Walker?
He was, I remember him. I saw a couple house shows with him. He was just some guy with like long curly hair and like pretty athletic, good looking body. But he was Chris Walker. That's pretty much why he didn't make it.
Wow.
You know,
He walked a lot.
Chris Walker.
15 years later, he could have been Edge. It would have been all right.
And David,
The real match number one.
The opening match was a tag team match. It was the New Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Owen Hart, who reformed the Hart Foundation, calling it the New Foundation.
New Foundation.
They defeated the Orient Express, Kato and Tanaka, with Mr. Fuji in their corner. 17 minutes and 18 seconds, the longest match on the card besides the Rumble in itself.
A little too long.
It was a little bit too long, but I give it a thumbs in the middle. It was a decent opener. It got the fans cheering. You're right. You could probably have shaved like 5 minutes off of it and got your point.
Crowd was popping, Jess. You're right. There's
but
no doubt.
The end was big. It was cool. You kind of knew neither tag team was going anywhere. But it was all right. It was thumbs in the middle. Go ahead, Dave.
I thought it was a fantastic statement by Bobby saying, you know what's wrong with the New Foundation? They still got their PJs on.
That's
that was like easy comedic material for him.
Easy money for Bobby all day long. I laughed so hard when the Anvil finally gets in the ring in the very beginning, and the crowd goes nuts for him when they don't understand that all he can do is just kind of toss you around.
That's all he's there for, though. That's why he gets the hot tag.
Yeah, he's there for the pop, and he's there for the big moves, and then he goes back in and sweats on the outside. That's all he does. I look at this and I'm like, Owen's carrying the entire match, the entire time. And also, what's just really sad is that their match gets trumped as usual by Brett having 104-degree temperature. They have to talk about it during the match to save face for Brett, and just in case he decides to come back to WWF, because he lost the IC title to the Mountie in a house show. But they have to bring that up on a fucking pay-per-view, and it has
Scooping
to
that fever heat.
Once again, straight up, Owen has a right to be upset in real life. So why not make that into a storyline years down the road? I'm just saying. Like, you're talking about Brett during this match, and there are good moves that are coming up, like the Alabama Slam from Anvil, and to a leg drop on the top rope from Owen was really cool. And then Owen's cross bodies on both parties of the Orient Express is really dope. The only thing I have a problem with, the cane. Do you guys remember the cane that Owen hits? Maybe that thing was
he put it in the corner. Yeah, he put it in the corner, and then he got whipped into it, and he fucking snapped it with his shoulder.
And you heard it snap.
Yeah.
I don't think it was rigged. I was like, he took that cane and ripped it on his shoulder, which was awesome. I was like, wow, Owen, you're like, that's crazy. The only thing I had a real problem with besides time was I didn't think Owen was legal when he made the pin to take the victory, but I still give it a thumbs up because it's Owen Hart, and that's all I'll say.
The Rocket on the top turnbuckle, and there's the Rocket. Oh! Sayonara, baby! It's over.
Here are your winners, the New Foundation.
Casarino?
Yeah, I'll give it a thumbs in the middle. Hey, it was good, especially when we compare it to what we recently watched, that opening trash of November 98. It stuck to the basics, and honestly, when I was watching it too,
the crowd was into it, right? Cuz
the crowd was into it, and honestly, when I was watching it, I was like, you know what? Compared to openers nowadays, am I wrong to say that it would still hold up as an opener today? I think so.
It did its actual job. Like it was.
Yep.
It was a
so
good
thumbs
opener.
in the middle
of an opener. I agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hounds of Justice.
I was pleasant. I was pleasantly surprised. It had no business being good. You heard Orient Express's music. You're like, oh, come on. But it was good to see Owen when he was the Rocket before he was kind of Owen, inventive. You couldn't take your eyes off him. Like it was good. You know what I mean? I don't think I respected it back in the day when I was watching it, and those pants are ridiculous in the neon.
They're great.
But it was good. Like watching it back 20 years later, it was good. 28 years later. Oh my
And
god.
next is
Wow.
next is when
Don't say that.
our,
Well, before you get there,
no, I was gonna say our Lord Alfred Hayes narrates the package, right?
yeah, he narrates it. He talks about the Bret Hart story with the Mountie.
So this is the whole thing, like not even a week before. I think it was like 3 days before in Springfield, Ohio. And they were having a house show in Springfield, Ohio. In the middle of all this, Bret decided to tease McMahon and be like, "What about if I go to WCW?" And Vince is like, "Fine, if you're really considering." I guess Bret's contract was up here, and Bret wanted a raise. Obviously, he was the Intercontinental Champion, and he was doing a pretty good job. And Bret was getting very popular here. He was definitely like upper tier, middle of the card for sure, as most good Intercontinental Champions are. And he was really becoming a great singles wrestler. He truly was. And so he, of course, my contract's up. I want this. Vince is like, I don't quite see you there. I'll meet you here. He's like, cool. I'll go to WCW. And at this time, yes, they brought Rick Rude over like 3 months before, and they were kind of retooling. So Bret's just like, yeah, I'll just go over there then, no problem. So Vince is like, fine, go. So Vince is like, well, we're gonna have you drop the title then. And of course, Bret didn't blink. He was like, okay, fine. Like, so it was a whole thing behind the scenes of those two working out the contract.
Fine,
In slips the Mountie, who kind of had like an on television feud with Bret here at this point, and wins with the fucking Intercontinental title 3 days before at a house show. Might have even been 2 days before, to be honest.
Yeah.
And but Lord Alfred Hayes narrated the package of somebody with like a fucking GoPro back in 1992. And just, being ridiculous and just going, and then Bret with a 104 degree fever or something?
Yeah, 104 degree temperature.
Bret with
News is
COVID-92.
to the Mountie.
But
In a series of pinfalls.
But he hadn't
And then
memorized it, so he was
COVID-19.
reading like cue cards, and he
wear his
didn't know what
mask.
he was doing. And you could see his eyes move like this, and then Springfield went, and then Rowdy Rudy, and I was like, "You get away from the camera."
So that you could tell this was all
mad.
rushed because, like Craig said, like at the end, like Mountie beats him with like a small package or something,
Oh,
kind
that's
of
fucking
cheaply.
great.
But Bret had 104 degree fever, and so that's why he lost. Mountie wins the IC title. He goes to keep attacking Bret. Piper comes in and goes, "Come on now," and gets in there.
It sets up the
You
Piper
talk
match
about
right
taking
then
my
and there.
battle?
Yeah.
Oh, fucker! Because originally on the originally it was supposed to be Bret defending the IC title against the Mountie on this pay-per-view, but they pulled it last minute, obviously, because and then the Mountie defeated Bret. Like
The Springfield screw job.
He took advantage of the 104 degree temperature. But then we move on to Sean Mooney.
oh,
And that's the Mountie and Jimmy Hart
Yeah,
interview,
Sean
which is
Mooney.
like, I'm the Mountie, and he keeps
talk about people
putting
that
the
I
camera
never
on.
respected before. How was the Mountie
Sean
not
Mooney.
the funniest motherfucker on the
Oh,
planet?
He's
He's
hilarious,
hilarious, dude.
man. He's
I
so
did.
good.
I did like him like a little bit later in his run, especially when he was in the Quebecers. But even here at the beginning, like Jacques was great. Like and everything he
Yeah,
did,
he
he was
did a-
so
he did a great job
exaggerated.
here.
His interviews were great and funny and poignant. And in the ring, he did like the best heel shit ever. Like,
Yeah.
I never respected
Fantastic.
him back here.
Then you move to Mean Gene Okerlund, with Roddy Piper, which I thought was really good stuff. Because he's like, "Ha! You've been dreaming, and it must be all wet too." And then he kind of walks off. I was just like, "That's great." Like the kids won't get it, but the parents will certainly understand. And Rowdy played right in that realm at that point. This is, in my opinion, this is some of Rowdy's best work. Not only I won't say in the ring, because in the ring it's Rowdy, but even his mic work here and the stuff he did, he kind of brought himself back up and even attempted to put himself into the main event at Rumble as well, making some dudes with Hogan at the same time. You can see Rowdy working, not only working like where he needs to be, but he's also working stuff to try to get himself to another level.
From this promo to the match right after this,
yourself.
this is the most
So
fun
good.
that it looked like Roddy Piper had in the ring for some reason.
He was having a
Like,
great time.
And Bret
really
did end
did.
up coming back, and him and Bret had a great Intercontinental title match at
Oh,
WrestleMania
yeah.
8 a couple months later. So I'm kind of glad it happened this way. So that jumps us right in there. It's Rowdy Piper defeated the Mountie with the sleeper hold in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Doesn't need to be longer than that. I know
Nope.
it's nice.
No.
I know it's an IC
he
title match,
dominated, by the way.
and
Yeah.
Piper wins his one and only singles championship in the WWF ever by winning the
That's
Intercontinental
ridiculous.
Championship here.
As many main events as he was in, too.
Yep.
To only win that.
So it was kind of cool. I remember in 1992, Jess, I was actually happy that Piper won it. It was kind of
where
neat to
where
see.
were you at with this though? With this match in general, where did you put the thumbs?
I would say like thumbs in the middle because
Yeah.
it was fine. It was fine for what it was. Jimmy Hart came in there, took some bumps and shit. You can tell when he ran across the ring at the very end, like it was just fucking hilarious because Piper sidestepped him and he's all like in the corner,
he takes
like,
a weird bumper, like he almost hits his face in the middle rope, and then has to abandon it and fall back and roll out the bottom. I was like, oh, Jimmy James.
So it was just really quick. Like I said, it was Jimmy. It was a 5-minute match. It was thumbs in the middle, but it was really great seeing Piper and the way they did the ending. Like the place erupted when the referee dropped Mounty's arms 3 times, but then Piper had to get the shock stick from Jimmy Hart. He shocks the Mounty with it. But then at the end, the delayed. Then after all of that, Howard Finkel announces him as champion, and like the crowd popped and like Piper legitimately looked happy and held the belt up and everything, and that was like I loved that like secondary pop from the original like 3 when the match actually ended.
The winner of this bout and
ended. So
I'm down with all that. That's my notes entirely, except for the fact that did anybody else notice that the cattle prod had the sound effects that you could totally hear?
I hated that.
Was that just me?
I really
did not hear
that.
the sound effect.
But Jess, you heard it, right?
Yeah, they play it like I hated it when they used.
There's a guy on the
So-
button like, buzz.
Yeah, it's like a buzzer.
But my question is that in the arena or is that playback on pay-per-view?
I think it's just playback. I think only on the TV you heard it. I don't know. I've never. saw
Coliseum
him
home video, extra sound, exclusive. Buzz. The cattle prod.
do it. Shock stick of the Mountie.
I heard it. I'm like, did the whole crowd hear that? Did they believe that? I was trying to like.
Imagine you hear that in the arena over the speakers, like
That's what I would not put it past Vince to do.
He's like, they don't know.
There's all fucking nation. As far as they know,
Knickerbockers are
it is that way.
stupid.
cue the stick, cue.
They're all stupid. They're all stupid anyway.
Oh, so good, so good.
So Piper,
just
new
curious.
Intercontinental Champion. What interview do we have for this? Before I get,
We have Hogan interviewing with Lord Alfred Hayes, who looks a little saggy, but definitely less.
Oh, sorry,
bloody.
Cuz never spoke.
Yeah,
on
what?
fucking
No,
Piper
go ahead,
match.
Jess
I'm
and
sorry,
Dave.
Cuz.
Talk about.
I'm so sorry, Cuz. I'm sorry. I never asked Craig or fucking.
He never
Cuz,
took
you
offense.
know
No, it's
what I'm
fine.
saying?
Cuz and I'll
Go ahead,
hang
Craig.
out. Just hang out. What's up, Cuz?
Go ahead, Greg. You go ahead.
But what if we did it at the right before the Royal Rumble? I'm like, and because we did that, Cousin Craig take the whole Royal Rumble. Dave and I
Oh, let's get hammered before we do that, Craig.
So sorry, go ahead, Cuz. What did you think about Piper win the IC title? How old were you here? 4 or 5?
2.
7? It was 7? Yeah. And actually, this is actually the first Rumble match I saw because of you. So that's another
I know.
reason why it's
Thank
a fond
you.
memory because it's my
It's all your
first
fault,
Rumble.
Jess.
It's all your fault, but
Thank you.
I give it a thumbs up just because I enjoyed it. It was short and the crowd was just going crazy for it the whole time. Roddy Piper cracked me up, especially with the cattle prod. He's like, "You want to take my manhood? I'm gonna show you." And then he didn't say that, of
That's
course.
right. You want to take my man?
But yeah, and it was just cool to see him win the Intercontinental the championship, and then fucking it got straight to the point. So yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah,
Oh, I can't say
definitely
anymore.
same
It
thing.
didn't overstay the welcome, you know.
Thumbs up. It was emotional. I really enjoyed watching Piper. He was never a great wrestler, but he played to the crowd perfectly. He got rock-esque pops. It was a lot of fun to see. As Jess said, he thoroughly enjoyed it, the most fun he had, and that translates when someone's having fun like that. I love the shit out of it.
Blah.
All right,
Yeah.
Dave, what goddamn interview do we have?
Sure.
Lord Alfred Hayes.
Well, that's right.
God,
Catches
stop it.
just happenstance catches Hogan in the back, brother.
Well, so can I?
Oh, brother.
On the network, all these Coliseum home video exclusives. So these aren't the original pay-per-view. Are all the pay-per-view on the networks like this from this era where they had a Coliseum exclusives, or was this just kind of a lot of
think
them?
Yeah, they just uploaded the
I
VHS.
don't know if all of them are like that, but yeah, I mean, a lot of them are like from their actual videotape. When the Attitude Era got kicking off, I want to say like in '99, they released this series of videos that they had Rumbles, Survivor Series, and Manias, all the actual original broadcasts. It was when they dumped Coliseum and went to WWF home video, and they actually released. I probably have some of them here in my garage actually. And it was the original actual airing of the pay-per-view. Which is totally different from Coliseum, because when we were growing up, every release came out on Coliseum home video, but they re-released it after they finally broke away from Coliseum. I'm not sure what year that was. And then they started their own video brand, WWF video, It actually is everything, every flub, every mess up or whatever, which they edited out of all the Coliseum home videos. So yeah, it's weird that when they get the network, they start airing the Coliseum home video stuff, which they don't own anymore, because people can actually sell Coliseum home videos and not get copyright nailed because of something that.
Well, that means they can't either.
And
So it's
I'm going to pimp Jess, and I'm going to say we're going to cut to the beginning Coliseum home video music right now.
It's like, yeah, it was very, it was like porn music. And it was Ken Patera swinging.
So Hogan was definitely less bloated, but a little more saggy here is the best way I can describe it. But the next interview rolls to Mean Gene with the Bushwhackers, and I can't remember the name of the gentleman that was with them. Jameson, which someone has to explain to me what the fuck that's all about.
I don't know.
No, nobody needs to. Go ahead.
I only have one word in my notes, and it's Jesus.
There is a rumor. There's a comedian called Andy Kindler, and they always thought Andy Kindler was Jameson, and it's not true, and it's a false rumor. Just FYI for people who know Andy Kindler. Continue. Sorry.
All right, baby.
Yeah, that was stupid.
So yeah, Jameson was like this nerd that was in like he was kind of like
brother.
What's his face from the fucking Nutty Professor? Oh my God, the famous the famous comedian.
You're not saying Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Jerry Lewis.
Oh, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah,
Well,
you're talking about the OG
Murphy's
one.
done the
Yeah,
same
he was
stuff.
So funny. It's like
Bowfinger, bro. Same concept.
So it was like that. His character from that movie was basically Jameson with the white tape in the middle of the glasses and guys, look, lady, and did the whole thing. It was ridiculous. I hated it. And so he was in the Bushwhackers corner, and they were taking on the Beverly Brothers with the Genius.
Bro, he was eating his tie.
Yeah, he was bad.
So weird.
So the match is next, right? Because I really got to get fucking past this.
The Beverly Brothers with the Genius with a lot of peroxide versus the Bushwhackers.
And they defeated the Bushwhackers, which is fine. But this match was 14 minutes and 56 seconds.
Oh,
absolute fucking thumbs down. I hated this match.
It's a thumbs down all around. Like we've talked about the Bushwhackers so many times where, we know they were the sheep herders and they were badass and Vince chopped them down from their manhood, like literally stripped them from it, where they've been just stripped down to look in people's faces. I mean,
which was successful, but even the young Jess back
the crowd loved it. I
hated the Bushwhackers even growing up.
You hear the pop for it. It's weird. They do the battery rams all day and they're licking kids in the audience.
God bless it.
Oh my God. Could you imagine doing that today? Like they licked random kids' faces on their way down to the ring. It's so weird. And I look at it now and I'm like, that's not okay.
I did enjoy the Beverly Brothers because I knew them as the Wrecking Crew from AWA. And like they were really talented. They were a very talented tag team. So
they could go.
They kind of were done a disservice here, but not every team could be pushed, I guess. But at least they won the match. But of course, the ending was Bushwhackers getting their thing and Jameson getting even with the Genius. And there you go. This was absolute trash and garbage.
That all sounds good because I didn't know it was 14 minutes because I immediately hit down on my Fire TV stick and then I went to the right to the next match after this one. So I'll take your word for it. Thumbs down.
Did you watch it, cuz?
Yeah, thumbs down. I just couldn't get into it though. I would watch it and then I had to be distracted and watch it and I'm like, nah.
It was bad. Super bad. Dave, you agree?
Yeah, thumbs down.
He's all thumbs up actually.
Good gravy. Good gravy. Next interview set is Gene with the Legion of Doom. I thought it was interesting how Animal took offense to being called closet champions. Yeah. So we're not no closet champions. I'm like, who said you were? I don't understand what closet champions are. Because he was trying to say they take on all comers. I don't know if they're hiding in the closet, but maybe Animal didn't understand that closet champions meant something different. I don't know. I mean, but that's just what they picked up on.
He's from Minnesota.
Next match. Yeah.
So the next match was that match. It was the tag team championship match. The defending champions, the Legion of Doomness, took on the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon with Jimmy Hart. They actually defeated the Legion of Doom by countout. So Legion of Doom,
that's what you call.
Legion of Doom lost the
fantastic.
match. 9 minutes 24 seconds. Legion of Doom lost the match, but held on to the titles. This was actually, they were supposed to have a rematch at Mania 8. However, shortly after this, similar to Bret Hart, LOD got a little annoyed at their contract, and Hawk was starting to go off the rails a little bit. So Vince is like, "You're dropping it to Money Incorporated." So like a month later, that happened at a house show. And then Legion of Doom came back at WrestleMania 8 and kind of shortly was around for 4 months and found some stupid fucking mannequin or puppet or whatever the fuck happened to them. But unfortunately here, it was cool to see LOD with the tag team championships around their waist. And the match,
the match was not terrible.
It never clicked. I got what they were trying to do, and I didn't mind the count out. I felt it should have been a double count out.
I did. It's a pay-per-view.
I agree.
No,
Double
but that's
count.
fine though. But they weren't gonna. They didn't want to kill the Natural Disasters yet. I don't think you take the title. Well, I mean, looking, I guess, what happened a month later, you probably should have taken the tag titles off Legion of Doom here. And Natural Disasters would have been cool to do it because it would have a lot of heat on them. But
if you're gonna do that, let the Natural Disasters maybe break out some brass knucks and get disqualified that way.
Well, there's where the belts belong right there.
The only way the championship can change hands is on a pinfall or a submission. Therefore, still WWF champions.
They're lucky. Boy, they're darn lucky.
They didn't have anywhere to put him, Dave, because all the singlet, you
That's
could.
a lot of work in the singlet. Just barely hanging on.
I didn't mind it because it was the undercard on the Royal Rumble, so I didn't mind it. I felt it should have been a double count out. I felt it should have been a double count out, and that would be even more fuel to the fire. But I get what they did. Natural Disasters didn't lose any heat. They beat the champions by count out. So that would have brought on the rematch for WrestleMania 8, which was the original plans. And of course, that all went south, like I just talked about. So I give it a thumbs in the middle.
Thumbs down.
I give it a thumbs in the middle just because I see what they were trying, but they were just sort of, I don't know. It fell flat. It never got out of first gear for me.
Not to mention, it never panned out.
So Dave gives it a thumbs down. Cuz, what do you give it?
Thumbs middle, almost going thumbs down because I agree with the it should have been a double count out, and and even looking at it, I can see why. Like if Legion of Doom were going to stick around, and Vince was going to keep pushing them as long as they Hawk wasn't falling off the rails and everything, and the whole of them going to WCW, I could see why they would end it in a double count out because you want to protect both badass teams. But yeah, I mean, I give it thumbs in the middle because I still love seeing both teams go at it, and that's one of those things back then when you were watching it, you're probably like, oh, that's like a dream match, the fucking big ass Natural Disasters versus Legion of Doom, what more could you want? But yeah,
because Bobby Heenan kept playing up on it like they can't throw Natural Disasters around like they do other opponents.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was kind of cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
But it just didn't click. It didn't get
the
out.
concept was good. Yeah. It's just how the match worked out.
Exactly.
And for me, thumbs in the middle. It was Legion of Doom looked like $1 million, and
yes,
Earthquake. You forget how agile and awesome he was, especially compared to Tugboat and how not agile and not awesome Tugboat was. But Earthquake was amazing for a man that size. Double clotheslines with
John Tenta
Animal.
Was a beast, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he alone got to thumbs in the middle for me. And it's good because they couldn't push them around, so they did a very 50-50 kind of you can't knock us off our feet.
Especially when Hawk and Tugboat.
I think as kids, we didn't understand what John Tenta was capable of. Earthquake.
No, I hated him.
Know the difference. We hated him, and that was the job. But you didn't realize that John Tenta was like a legitimate sumo wrestler that could legit fuck you up. Yeah. John Tenta could probably take half the people in that locker room, if not all of them.
Yeah. When you're 44 and you make noises just getting in your car every morning, and you realize John Tenta could go 15 minutes and do a lot of stuff
over, probably.
Respect.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
So we take that interview with Sean Mooney and the Natural Disaster with Jimmy Hart, and Jimmy Hart does his best Trump impression to literally try to sue everyone in the interview. And they say that we are the real champions, and then they storm out of the locker room. So there you go. Then
it's facts.
Mean Gene interviews Roddy Piper, which is so good. You can see that Rowdy is genuinely happy to finally get an individual title in the WWF and says, I'm going to make history and I'm going to win 2 titles in one night because he's moving on to the Royal Rumble. Then you have Mooney with Shawn Michaels, and they replay the barbershop windows, with his former tag team partner, Marty Jannetty, which
This
is
was pre-cross-eyed Shawn Michaels.
It is burned into your brain. Yeah, that's true. It is pre-cross-eyed. It's burned into your brain what he did to Marty Jannetty, where he, scissor kicks him and then throws him through a sugar glass
He's
window.
such a baby here. Shawn Michaels is literally like scripted, like locks of hair and glasses. He's everything, like he's so young and he's so
he's
so
trying to
early.
figure out his heel
But
gimmick
he's
here.
deliberately trying to
literally
push
the
himself away from
beginning.
that rocker gimmick.
This is the beginning of the Heartbreak Kid. Like,
it's the beginning of a
crazy to see.
piece of shit. Then you roll on to Lord Alfred Hayes with Ric Flair, and this is where Ric Flair is saying, "Hey, I drew number 3, but it's gonna be just fine."
But and also point out that it's a Coliseum Video Home exclusive, and Flair is very quiet.
We did not know when we watched this live. I remember we didn't know like
3?
when Flair was going to come in.
Yeah,
The Heartbreak Kid.
Could just
I'm just gonna run through this because literally it's really tough, and you have to kind of follow it. It's Macho Man segment. Then
real quick. They did this every year, and I loved it.
Yeah, the interview segments.
Yeah, they did this every year, and I loved it. And it would be like rapid fire, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And it was just like participant after participant after participant. So like it's rapid fire. It's fun just to watch. Some of them are super scripted. Well, all of them are scripted, but some of them are super corny. But these are fun to watch. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's Macho Man followed by Sid Justice, then the Repo Man, Davey Boy Smith, which Craig totally loved. Jake Roberts, probably the best interview. Ric Flair again, The Undertaker, and then who's last? Oh, the immortal Hulk Hogan.
You just skipped over Sid Vicious's promo, which is he's always the greatest close up on his face.
And he was but he was a face here. Like Sid Justice was a face here.
It's gonna be long. It's gonna be dark. I don't know. I don't even know what he said.
But there's almost no difference. Like he's still gritting his teeth. He still hates you. Like
I still want to play softball next week. It's a real issue.
He always said that he wants to be. He would always wanted to be a heel over a face, and I get it because he never knew how to be an actual face.
That's what he was. Even though he was getting huge pops out there. What I'm talking about. By the way, Howard Finkel does a fantastic job in the Royal Rumble introduction. The only way is to get everyone over.
What's the story? He was the second or third employee.
Goes over the top. Will win the Royal Rumble and
the first employee, right?
I think he was. Yeah, he was the first employee.
Yeah.
God love him. Bless you, Howard Finkel.
Championship.
So with that, this is where I really have to turn over to Jess with his
before that,
Rumble entrance.
But Tunney gets booed like he's the like he's the NFL commissioner. Like on draft day, he gets booed. Yeah.
Tunney gets booed.
Why wouldn't you boo Tunney? He took the title from Hogan. What do you expect?
Unequivocally, the match is a draw. Like he was always.
He's like, made the best man win. They're like, boo, Tunney, boo.
I hope you die, Tunney.
That no good Jack Tunney, brother.
Nobody
should shouldn't even have this match.
So
it's
now we
so
get
good.
into the 30-man Royal Rumble, which for I would say at least a solid 10 years was the greatest Rumble ever.
It is now time for the Royal Rumble.
This is what we've all been waiting for.
In just a few moments, the individuals who drew number 1 and number 2 will begin the Royal Rumble, and every 2 minutes thereafter, another individual will enter the ring according to the number he pulled. Remember, in the Royal Rumble, it is every man for himself, and elimination occurs when a wrestler is thrown out over the top and onto the floor. Now, the man who will win the Royal Rumble and the one man remaining after all 30 participants have entered will be crowned the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champion.
Very simple. It's over the top and down to the...
I'm just going to go over the names before we get into it. I'm going to read everybody in the order that they drew. Number 1 was
in the order
so
of
just think of
BKM.
these names here. The British Bulldog,
No,
Ted
the
DiBiase,
British Bulldog.
With the worst
Ted
promo.
DiBiase, Ric Flair,
Ted DiBiase.
Jerry Saggs, Haku, Shawn Michaels, Tito Santana, the Barbarian,
Wow.
Kerry Von Erich, Repo Man, who was Smash, Greg Valentine,
Yes.
Nikolai Volkov, the Big Boss Man, Hercules, Rowdy
mine is
Piper,
mine.
Jake Roberts, Jim
What's
Duggan,
mine?
IRS Mike Rotundo, Jimmy Snuka, The Undertaker, Randy Savage, the Berserker, Virgil,
You laughed a little bit.
Colonel Mustafa, which was the Iron Sheik, Rick Martel, Hulk Hogan, Skinner, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice,
Skinner.
and the Warlord, who was eliminated by Hogan.
Whoa, brother.
Just think of those 30 names. Now, even
Don't
the year
give it
before,
away.
I would say probably had an equal roster or better. But I mean, when you think of, I know some people have to do a certain role when they go into WWF, like, Kerry Von Erich became Texas Tornado and, all that. But think of just what Kerry Von Erich meant, how big he was in Texas a few years before, how, Flair, what Flair was to the Crockett and
It was really top talent from all territories, yeah.
who the Iron Sheik was, who Hogan was, who Undertaker, who
All of them.
he became. Jimmy Snuka was a legend before this. Like, you had all these people, Jake Roberts, like, Jesus Christ, like this is like everyone that was a
Look at
big
the
in
animation
territory.
behind Dave and me, like just alone, like
Yeah.
Savage, Justice, Hogan, Boss, Piper, Flair, like it's everybody.
And then mix it with the fact that Flair was always the other side, always the competition, always. Now he's here and the title's vacant. And I'll tell you, he wins the goddamn thing. And I remember in my living room, we were all in there and I was so fucking pissed. Like, I should have known that Hogan wasn't going to win because he was involved in the controversy that made it vacant to begin with. So, of course, he's not going to win it.
Brother.
But at the same time, like, God, the end, a lot of things happened here. Like, you finally saw the beginning of the weakening, of Hulkamania here.
Yeah.
He, at the very end,
Yeah.
it's down to Hogan and Flair, which was a dream match. Everybody wanted to see that. Sid Justice was in the ring. He eliminates Savage, turns around, and Hogan and Flair are just in their own world fighting each other. Hulk goes to throw Flair over the top rope. Sid sneaks from behind him, throws him out. From a booking standpoint, Vince is like, everybody's going to boo Sid. Hogan's going to get cheered because Sid came behind. The place went fucking nuts.
Everyone cheered.
When Hogan
Yep.
did it. So
Every
then
man for
Hogan-
himself, big boy.
Yeah,
They
and
were
then
tired
Sid
of it.
leans over like a massive heel, which he is correct, saying he's always liked being a heel better. With, it's every man for himself, big boy.
Oh, Justice got rid of Hulk. Uh-oh. I don't like the looks of things now. There are no friends. There are no friends. Only enemies. Why is Hulk upset?
Big boy. He turns around. Hogan, like a fucking heel, grabs Sid's
Yeah.
arm
Exactly.
and starts to pull Sid over the top rope. Flair comes from behind, dumps Sid over. Joe lost his shit in my living room because he's a major Flair fan.
This is a
And
no
a
way
lot
to
of the
happen,
crowd,
right?
I love rewinding it because they're in New York. And like Flair, you could see people jumping up and down when Flair won. Like, it was
They're like, he did it.
it was so many different, like, the Crockett merging with WWF, merging with like Hogan's old. Sid looked amazing. He looked like $1 million.
No one had lasted that long. He was an hour in at that point. Like it wasn't
Flair
those days
also,
anymore.
yes. Flair not only wins it coming in at number 3, but he lasted for an hour and 2 seconds, and he eliminated 5 people. The second most of this Royal Rumble, the most being Sid. The ending of this, you hear live on the pay-per-view, Hogan gets back in the ring and starts bitching at Sid and expects everyone to cheer him. Half the crowd boos the shit out of him. And when Sid gets down, Sid pushes all the referees out of it. Sid would get down to his knee and put his arms out and do that. The place went nuts. And you saw Hogan's face. And Sid told on a shoot interview that after they get to the back, Hogan comes back and starts cussing McMahon out, going, "You fucking rigged this. You knew I would get booed. You fucking set me up." And Sid was just like, holy shit. Like, here Sid came in like 4 months before getting promised, like, "I think we're going to put the belt on you, pal. You look great," or whatever. And then Sid's thinking, okay, I'm going to get eliminated, but I'm going to be in a program with Hogan. And then Hogan gets in the back and starts. This was also the deterioration of Vince and Hogan as well.
Motherfucker, brother.
They were not motherfucker Vince, brother.
That didn't work for me, brother. That
Yeah.
did not work
So
for me.
a
You
lot of the
motherfucker.
like Hogan and Vince's
You're not even a
relationship-
brother right now. You're a motherfucker.
You're not a brother. You're not even a brother right now, brother. You're a motherfucker.
Fucker.
He still says it. He still calls him brother.
Fucker.
Not even a brother to me, brother.
So stupid.
You motherfucking brother.
So not only did that happen, that people actually boo, and then later on, of course, on the syndicated TV, they sweeten the crowd. They put in boos when Sid threw Hogan over, and when Hogan got back in the ring.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they did not want people to hear Hogan booed. But I remember everyone was in my living room. He got booed incredibly loud. And people, you saw Hogan's face when you go back and watch it now.
He looks at, he
looks
knew he was in
around.
trouble. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah, he's all, people are booing me. He was tired and old at this point. Like Dave said, he didn't even look like a Hulk anymore because he was not on the roids. So and I don't know how Sid got away with it, but Sid was gigantic. Man, his traps were like fucking 6 inches.
Those are natural, Jess.
He had a lot of chicken. So it was.
But Hogan didn't miss a tan.
There was so much stuff that happened. Of course, I give this a thumbs up. But really good. Flair lasted a long time, and it's amazing to me that Vince actually put that kind of trust in this heel, especially the enemy, that came from the other side. He really treated Flair good. For the way heels get treated in WWF, Flair got treated well. And when Flair won the title here, it did so many different things for him. I mean, being NWA champion already for 7 times, I think, when he came over here, and then winning the WWF title, it meant a lot historically to pro wrestling for Flair to win here. And I know Vince erases the history, and but it was the first time that Vince brought the NWA belt over. They didn't call it the NWA title, but he had the big gold belt when he first came in. Vince never did that. And so it was just a cool, crazy time here. Now they flubbed it. We never got our Hulk versus Flair. We've talked about it before in past episodes. Hogan versus Flair in the archives.
Probably a good idea. It didn't happen, but
but I mean, it just kind of, man, when Flair won the title here, historically, to me as a fan, I was Joe was happy and I was pissed because Hogan lost. But at the same time, I knew this is a big deal. Vince really rolled out the red carpet for Flair and made him.
Look at this! Hulkster holding on, trying to pull him out. It's Flair from behind. Oh, yes! Flair did it! Yes! He did it! I told you,
Ladies and gentlemen,
I told you,
winner of the Royal Rumble.
I told you. Yes, I told you.
Flair and made him important, and it was awesome. And I'll let Craig bring it up because Craig loves the interview afterwards of Flair and Gene Okerlund and all that stuff.
With a tear in my eye.
But I give it a thumbs up. There was really cool spots in here, especially in the middle when Flair finally eliminates everybody. He finally dumps the boss man over, and Flair's standing alone, and then Piper's music plays, and he's all, oh God, he crumbles down oh God, and Piper comes out, and Piper's hyped because he just won the IC title. The crowd's go in there, and there was so many cool spots that.
There was. Now's his chance. Listen to me. Get a little break here. Take your time. You got 7 seconds. Boy, is he hurting. Sucking, trying to get that oxygen in that body. And here comes Roddy. Oh no. Of all the people, anyone but Piper. It's Piper. Piper could become World Wrestling.
There was so many segments in this. This is Flair's arguably greatest moment before all the politics and before it kind of all went haywire and we didn't get WrestleMania 8 and this was his time to shine. It was awesome. And he earned it because he worked so hard in this Rumble. He spent some time in a turnbuckle sitting down, but when he worked, he was working, and he let everyone get their shit in on him from the very beginning, and never let up. And I didn't care if you hated him, if you were not an NWA fan at all. By the end of this, you were happy for him. And then to Jess's point, that special interview at the end, when he kind of has his moment of tear in my eye and, hey, put that cigarette out. It really, there's something special with that.
And it
was, special event.
It was so emotional. And I'm sorry, I know I already spoke my piece, but it was so emotional for him because that line that he said, he's all, when you have this title, this is the best. And for years, he was telling everybody the NWA is the real world champion. And then when Herd fucked him over, and he had to come over and do this.
This is the place to
he
be.
got
This
even.
is
Like,
the
yeah,
This
world
makes you the
championship.
best. Yeah.
he got even, and it did in general because he'd never been there before. And look, you could say whatever you want, but Vince did his job. He fucking bought the company from his dad and made them the #1 show in town, and he put so many other people out of business. So Flair, it was true. And I think that, obviously he was such a great employee for Crockett and NWA by selling that for all those years. And NWA is the real champion. We're real over here. We don't pose. For years, Jim Ross was saying that. Flair was saying that. But when he gets there, I think it's funny. WWF is usually the land of the cartoon and the script. But I think this was Flair's like real emotions where he's like, you are the best when you have this because this is the best place.
Look at the production. Look at Flair in an NWA ring for the last 10 years before this or whatever. And look at him with full lights with the crowd, like fully the way the angles and the way they filmed it. It's brilliant. Like,
well, you can even see Heenan and Perfect responding to Flair when Flair kind of goes the off the cuff speech, and they look at each other and they smile. And they're like, "This is amazing," and they laugh.
Oh yeah,
but they don't laugh in an evil way. They laugh like, "Oh my god!"
And Vince
amazing.
Never highlighted it, but oh, by the way, one of the best promos ever. Just cut one of the best promos ever. Like right in front of your face, like on the cuff, man. Like sweaty.
after wrestling an hour.
Yeah, and it just showed how great he was. Like Vince, I know gets real wrapped up.
That was pre-taped though, I think. I'm just kidding. It wasn't pre-taped.
By virtue of winning the Royal Rumble, we have a brand new World Wrestling Federation champion as the press watches on. At this time, to present the title belt to the new champion, our president, the distinguished Jack Tunney.
Congratulations, Ric Flair, on becoming the undisputed champion of the World Wrestling Federation.
Let me just say, after viewing distorting the belt, to proclaim me the real world champion, I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're #1, the only way you get to stay #1 is to be #1. And this is the only title in the wrestling world that makes you #1 when you are the king of the WWF. You rule.
He just dumped water on himself before to make himself look sweaty.
Big thumbs up.
Bladed himself.
But yeah, Dave, what do you think overall about it? What are your
No, it's a thumbs up. Yeah, I've left everything I have on the table except for the fact that you want to talk about Hogan and why he's being booed. Jess talks about this all the time, sometimes on the podcast, definitely off of it, where Hogan has a knack for doing heel shit and not getting called out for it. And by the way, he did it in this match in a huge segment, but he also did it all through it. I think he gave like 80 thumbs to the eyes in that Royal Rumble match. I swear to God, like that is not what a face does. I'm just being real.
He would scratch people's backs all the time.
Yeah, he was scratching backs. He was giving thumbs to the eyes. He gave Ric Flair like 4 thumbs to the eyes in that match. And then on top of that, at the very end of it, Sid throws him out and he pulls Sid out when he's already out. That's a total heel tactic.
Sore loser.
Why would you not get booed? Who does not see this coming in hindsight?
Because they were all like in Hogan land before that. Before this, Hogan. But you're right, though. It's odd. Like,
they thought he could do no wrong.
Ever since Hogan lost to the Warrior, when he would come back, he would do these little heel things. And like it's weird. It's like Hogan knew he was getting older, so he had to do stuff like, I'm not young like I used to, so I got to scratch some backs if you catch my drift. Like, and so it was just so odd. It was so odd. Cuz, what did you think about it?
Thumbs up, big time. And I mean, come on, man. The similarities are there. Cena and Hogan, Macho and Elizabeth. Cena, Zack Ryder, Eve Torres. Cena did some heel tactics, or what you would consider as a heel. Hogan, sore loser, gets dumped by Sid. Everyone cheers Sid. Brother, this can't be, and fucking pulls Sid over. But all the little angles in there, too. The Macho Man and Jake the Snake. Ric Flair, he does an incredible job of selling, and obviously they're going through an hour long, or over an hour long match. But Flair has that ability to just kind of draw you in, like, I'm really hurt, I'm really drained, and the promo after, I mean, like you guys said, it was real emotion. He even says, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment of my life, and he knows that him saying this is the place to be, this is the title, that carries weight because of, like you said, of all the years saying that the NWA title was the best, or the title to have. Man, everything was just great about the Royal Rumble, and like I said, it brings me back to my childhood. It's probably one of my top 3 Royal Rumble pay-per-views in general.
And
so thumbs up.
Yeah, and also too,
Craig's gone.
we the banter back between Monsoon and Heenan was great, and Heenan sold
Yes.
that. Heenan was like his
great.
advisor. Heenan was the guy who brought him into the company, and so Heenan was just like stressing out the entire time. Heenan on commentary made it so even better. It told the story about Flair. There's no way he's going to win it. Even Monsoon's like, he's not going to win it, Brain. Give it up. He's number 3.
When he get halfway in the ropes, oh, here he goes. He's going now. Gorilla would always call out, oh, he's going to go now. And then he didn't go. You know?
Well, even little things like being a heel, like when Macho Man threw himself over, he's like, no, you got to throw yourself, or you got to have someone propel you over. And because a heel, like a Jerry Lawler heel would have been like, no, he should be out, blah, blah, blah. But like even Heenan, like being a heel, but then still going by the rules and calling it down the middle in a sense, with certain things too in the match. So, I mean, but Heenan was just great overall in that match. And then, being paranoid and worried for Flair, like all of it was great. It was a great Royal Rumble.
And I think the thing that's fairly obvious, but not to the segment that we talked about today, is 50 minutes of time, is that I think this kind of success in the Royal Rumble is what sets the Royal Rumble for success in the future, where you may not necessarily win the title if you win the Rumble, but you definitely win a title match at Mania, which pretty much goes forward either a year or two later.
The next year in 1993.
It is the very next year. Okay, I just want to make sure. And then from that point, whoever wins the Rumble, that's what's so great about the Rumble, is that it can change your whole, if you are one of those major players in the WWE, it could change your whole perspective on where you're going into WrestleMania just by happenstance winning the Rumble. And that's the coolest part about it. I think this particular Rumble catapults that going forward. Without this, it may not have happened.
Yeah, this was great. This belongs in a time capsule, this Royal Rumble, and it's one of the best ones, easily.
Yep. I love it. All right, man. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. And anything we talk about today is inspired by the WWE Network. So do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. This is Dave with Jess and Cuz and a Phantom Craig signing off.
Come back, Craig.
We love you, Craig. Have a good one.
Yes, do you live slave? The death of freedom of father choice. Those of us don't kneel, don't like you cowards. WWF, this world is wrong to be. Oppressing your own cognitive function eliminated. Conversations are chips we're growing and awakening because of your own weak and fragility. Such an man as well only swallow you whole and victimize you. To those who wish to defeat and all that's true. And at the end of the day, it's them versus me and you.